South Dakota, July 25th, 2022. Roll call, please.
Smith.
Here.
Weinreich.
Here.
Bragg.
Here.
Robish.
Present.
Mayor Harrington.
Here. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda approval. Do we have any adds or deletions or corrections to our agenda tonight? I know we got one add, if nobody's got one. Is everybody good with the agenda? Okay. We're going to add an executive session to our agenda tonight. Do you have a number on that, Paul?
Yep, 125-2, parent 1, personnel.
Okay, personnel, all right, good. Okay, so that's the only one that we're adding tonight to the agenda.
Move to approve agenda with amendment.
Second.
Commissioner Weinrich moves to approve. We have a second by Commissioner Roach. Go to roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Public forum. Public comments may be sent to our live meeting broadcast on the city's YouTube channel. The link is listed on the city's website at www.huronsd.com/citygovernment. In order to use the YouTube chat feature, please create an account with your YouTube chat, YouTube, and your Gmail, or using your existing accounts. Please state your name and address for the record. Public forum is limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per person. And we have our HR director sitting on the computer in the back of the room. He will look at, if you send anything through that YouTube or Gmail, he will take a look at your question and he'll get it to the commission and we'll try to solve it for you tonight. If we can't, we'll do it tomorrow or someday after that. So look forward to taking any of your questions. Is there anybody here with public forum tonight? Right? All right, we'll move on. City Commission adjourns to convene as a Board of Adjustment for the following public hearing. And we'll ask our City Commissioner, Planner, Harry Cranston, to tell us what we got going on in 4.1.
Thank you, Mayor. This variance request is filed by Dennis Milbrandt, project address 26 11th Street Southwest, to construct a detached garage 6 feet from the residence where code states that the accessory building shall be 10 feet or more from the principal building and to be located 19 feet from the north property line, where the code states that whenever a garage is designed that it is to be entered directly from the side street or alley, the distance between the doors and the lot line shall be 20 feet or more in an area zoned R5 multiple family residential district. We have looked at this. This is incidentally, this is the second variance we've had, as we had discussed at a previous meeting about this 10-foot versus the 5-foot that is required by the Uniform Building Code. So our zoning code states that an accessory building should be 10 feet, and the actual IEBC calls for only 5 feet. And so, again, we've talked about this. We'll probably be changing our language in our ordinance to reflect whatever the city adopts for the International Building Code number, so that we don't continue to have these variances for that purpose, because that's 2 now that we've had in consecutive meetings. So as far as the 19 feet versus the 20 feet, it actually is a little, it's barely under the 20 feet, it's by inches versus a whole foot. And so we received no opposition to this. As required by law, we notified everybody, we put it in the paper, and we had no comments received back. The hearing examiner recommended approval once they discussed it with him, and so we're, as staff, we're recommending approval as well.
Okay. I need a motion to approve for discussion.
I move to approve the
variance request.
Second.
Mr. Robish, motions to approve for discussion, and second by Commissioner Smith. I need a roll call vote, please. Don't need them? Oh, we just got it, okay. Okay.
Smith,
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Robish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, is there any discussion on this item? I see Dennis Milbrandt's here, so if you have any questions for Dennis, we could.
Mayor, perhaps a point of
Yes,
order.
we should-
How that was let in, we just approved it.
Yeah.
Motion and a second, and you
We
call the
we
roll call.
approved a motion so that we could go into discussion.
We already did vote. We should have waited on the vote.
Yeah. That's okay, you can have some discussion
Yeah, you
now,
can-
and
If anybody
if it
has.
changes, we can amend it.
Yeah, okay, we'll have discussion now. Got caught up in that a little bit because of
Yeah.
previous situation we were involved about 3 weeks ago. But we're trying to clean that up, so if we gotta step forward, we gotta step forward a little bit.
Okay.
My fault. Go ahead, discussion.
I don't have it.
Anybody? Anybody for Dennis?
I
Yeah.
don't, other than just maybe more of a clarification question with Barry.
Mhm.
What's the, why is 10 feet the determining factor? What,
That is it's a zoning code ordinance that we passed as part of that, and at the time that was passed, that was the same as what the Uniform Building Code was.
Okay.
The International Building Code. Since then, the building code has changed. And so, since we just unilaterally, since we just adopt the building code as is, it creates a technical discrepancy between our two ordinances and the action of the board, so.
Yeah.
So we're gonna rewrite that, and we'll get that cleaned up so that we don't continue to have these variances with that difference.
yeah, and I guess I'm just, why 10 feet? You know,
Yeah.
why
It
not
was-
is it a fire thing or
It used to be a
access or
fire
what?
code, because what happens if you build closer than 5 feet to a property line, we require you to fire code sheetrock that, which typically means 5/8 inch sheetrock all the way to the roof lines on the inside and the outside to create a 2-hour fire barrier. That's typically why.
Yeah, thank you. That's all I had, Mayor.
Oh, yeah, we're good to go? All right, thanks, Dennis. We're good to go.
You stop in and get your permit.
Okay, we'll do.
Okay. Board of Adjustment adjourns to reconvene as City Commission. Number 6, consent agenda. Matters appearing on the consent agenda are expected to be non-controversial and will be acted upon by the commission at one time without discussion. Unless a member of the commission requests an opportunity to address any given item, items removed from this consent agenda will be discussed at the beginning of the formal items. 6.1, minutes of July 18th, 2022, City Commission. 6.2, I'm going to have Barry step in on this
Right.
one here.
This 6.2 is just for a point of clarification. This was a condition that the commission put on this home-based business because they wanted to do an annual checkup to see if there were any traffic problems or any kind of neighborhood problems that were created as a result of this business being located in the front of their home. There has been none. The property is in good shape, and so we recommend approval of this item as part of the consent agenda.
Thank you, City Planner, for updating us on that. 6.3, fuel quotes for city departments. 6.4, personnel items. 1, close a water and sewer maintenance 2 position and open a water and sewer maintenance 1 position. 2, terminate Carlos Salazar from the lifeguard position. 3, promote Jameson DeMarcy to concession manager position. 4, recommend adding Brandex Mendel to the fire cadet program. 6.5, payment of the bills.
Motion to approve consent?
Motion to approve, Commissioner Weinrich, second.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Smith. Roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Weinrich,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Rubbish.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Petitions and Communications, 8.1. Finance Director Paul M. Carey will talk to us about 8.1.
Thank you, Mayor. These are two new licenses for the new Dollar General going up on the corner out here. One is a retail wine and cider license, and one is an off-malt beverage and South Dakota wine license. They've been inspected, the building has been inspected and recommended approval by the fire chief and the building official. We have received no comments and recommend approval for the two new licenses.
Okay. All right, need a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Move to approve, Commissioner Smith. Need a second on this motion.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Weinrich. Any discussion on this item?
I do, Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Robish.
I guess I would like, I know the answer to this, but I want Pauline to go through it and explain the difference. This is not a liquor license.
No,
Right.
these are malt beverage license and then the wine.
Would you publicly explain that so I don't have to?
So malt beverage license is for malt beverage basically, as well as South Dakota wine, that's one license. The other one is wine and cider, so that's for your ciders and wine that are not South Dakota. So two different licenses, one covers South Dakota wine and malt beverage. And then the regular liquor license is for hardcore liquor as well as beer and anything else. So no, these are specific licenses.
Thank you for that clarification.
Any other discussion or questions on this item? Roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Weinreich,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Robish,
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. 8.2, we're going to consider a request by Dave Stahl, to reduce the special assessments against Lot 6 and 7, Block 1, Lot 6 and 7, Block 2 of Esterbrook Subdivision, .3. I believe in your packet, you have some assessments, costs and stuff, and what's against these properties, and what we have done in the past with this type of situation. So it's open to discussion. Mr. Stahl is here, I see. So,
Just a point of order here.
Yes.
So we don't need a motion to discuss this prior.
So, yeah, let me just give a little bit of background on the numbers, and then you can have a motion to discuss.
Okay.
These are 4 lots in the Esterbrook that the city has done special assessments: water, sewer, service lines, road, curb and gutter. Total owed that the city's already paid on these is $87,000. As a city, you've authorized the finance officer to be able to discount 50%. So we did offer that, and that's $43,009. And then now we have a request from Mr. Stahl for $8,500 a lot, which is a total of $34,000. So you would need you'd need a motion to
Do we
start
have a
discussion.
motion, do we have a motion to discuss this topic?
I will make a motion to approve for further discussion.
Okay. Mr. Weinrich, need a second on this motion?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Smith. Now we'll have a vote on it.
Discussion.
Second, good to go. All right, now it's discussed. What's your feelings on how we'd want to approach? Do we want to take what is a $9,000 difference? $9,945
Per lot.
per lot, yes.
Oh.
No, total. So
Oh, from the 50%
Yeah.
discount.
did you, Paulin, happen to do what percentage that is?
I did not, no.
To see, is it like 45% or is it? how close to 50 we are.
Mayor, if I may.
What have we done? Because I know we had one of these not too long ago, a similar request. What did we deny on that one?
4,000.
We denied the request for $4,000 a lot.
One question that I have is, have we ever went past the 50%?
Not on these lots.
Not these lots, but other special assessments?
Yeah, older ones, yeah, because we still have current on these.
How long have the assessments then on these been sitting there?
This will 10 will be 10 years this
10 years.
next year. Yep. They're 10-year assessments is what they are. 2012, 2013 is when we finished them.
And what is the amount we assess each year for tax or?
You know, I did not
interest?
split it out specifically, so
Just a ballpark.
it just depends, you know, it's probably $1,000. I'd have to, you know, we could figure it, I guess. I don't have that in front of me.
Well, each lot is, would you say 11?
11 would be.
Yeah, it's about, it's a couple, $3,000 plus
Each year.
interest.
Each year.
Yeah,
That you add to it.
right. It becomes delinquent.
Great.
You know, like the owner could come in and pay it.
Sure.
It becomes delinquent. The delinquent then goes over to the county. Because when we do these assessments, that's the plan that we choose that the county collects. So they're supposed to collect this prior to their sale. And, there's tax deed sales. They're
Mr.
selling a lot for $100.
Mr. Stahl, you have something to add to the discussion? You can come up to the table and state your name and address.
Puts us sleep. Hi, I'm David Stahl. I live at 2716 Dakota Avenue South. I sleep 30 feet from the city limits, so I'm just out south of town. I'm just gonna try to make that offer. They've been sitting vacant for about 10 years. I thought we'd get the tax revenue back for those. My goal is to purchase them first and then hopefully do some development on them.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Stahl?
Mr. Miller, could I ask what the timeline is for development? I know obviously, Mr. Stahl, you don't know for sure, but is this something you're looking to move pretty quickly on, or hold these, or what is your plan?
It probably wouldn't be real quickly, no.
Did you hear that? He said it probably wouldn't be real quickly.
My
Thank you.
my goal would be to get my brother to come in and help me with some building. He's a novice carpenter, a lot better than me, but he would come in and help with the structures, or a structure.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Stahl? All right, thanks, David, appreciate it.
Thanks.
How would you like to proceed with this? Commissioner Smith?
Well, these are kind of interesting because there's a package of these properties out there. They are all located fairly close to each other. And they, obviously, they've been presented as tax purchases. We had another applicant that, just for the public knowledge, we've given the authority to the finance officer for 50%, up to 50% discounting on these special assessments. And the previous applicant was offering $4,000 per lot, which we denied. And I can't think of when we've had back-to-back within, I think that was 6 months ago or within the year
It was
anyway,
in March. Previously that we've had,
of being in this situation. But what's interesting about it is when you go to the county and they say, yeah, we'll sell for $100, but you gotta go settle up with the city. Well, the thing that's going through my mind is, how do you do an auction based on that? You know what I mean? If we say, no, Dave, you know what, we're not gonna accept this, but what will you give us above that? It's moving the needle for the county, you know, well, so where the county would say, well, shoot, if they'll go to, in this previous gentleman's situation where it was $4,000, it just didn't, I didn't feel right about that, because if the public knew that we were willing to go down that low, then that's how it should be advertised in the tax deed auction, is kind of what I'm getting at. And these, again, these lots, they're kind of a unique deal because there's 4 of them, and they're in a developed neighborhood already, so they're a little bit different than an odd property, whether it be because of setbacks or on a corner or something like that, or possibly have a house that we raised off of it. So,
and another quick thing that I did not say the first time, only 2 of the lots that are on this list were asked for in the previous request.
okay.
So there's only 2 of the 4. And that previous to this year, we have probably, the county has sold more than this for lots, that we have forgiven the 50%, probably 3 lots already this year in that area that accepted the 50%. I just wanted to note that, because it's kind of what we've been doing.
Yeah, yeah, so, and it kind of rolls back to my concern of precedent on it. So if there's another lot or 2 lots out there that come back and they say, well, we did it for him on 4 of them, why can't, I mean, we're establishing the price of what we're gonna accept on these like lots, is what I'm getting at.
I believe there's only one more lot out there besides them
Yeah,
for sale.
however, I'd sure like to have the money on the account rather than continue to fight through this, so that's my biggest concern on it, Dave. I'd really like for somebody to have the opportunity to develop those lots and fill in the vacancies. So I'm more accepting to 8,500 than I am for 4,000 on 2 of those lots, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Have you ever purchased them from the county?
No.
Yeah.
And that,
I've talked with them, they did say that, you know, I could purchase them. That's about all they said.
Yeah, I think they're already past the tax deed sale. It didn't say.
and so that might be a little bit of a dynamic in this situation that might be proper for us to work that out with the county before we were to approve this or deny it. Because it's a large dollar amount. I mean, this isn't, we're dealing with thousands of dollars, and with that thought process of, well, it would alter their ability to some degree, you know, for future tax sales too. So, I don't know if that makes sense,
Just
but that's
point of
what's.
clarification, what do you mean by us going to the county, and what can we do with them that's going to have anything to do with the deal that we're making on the special assessments?
So
I
quick
guess
point of clarification is, for one, Mr. Salkin asked for this, but he doesn't own the lots right now, so it would be contingent on him purchasing the lots that we would even do this. The county tax deed sales happen, and if those lots don't sell, the county can sell them to whoever they want for whatever they want. They are to collect our assessments, but knowing our assessments are large, they, ask them to come to the city to see if we would forgive.
Or they decide.
Yeah, no, we don't see that a lot anymore on the nuisance assessments because they don't collect those for us. Those stay with the city. These ones are collected by the county and that's where that comes from. And the older they get, obviously, yes, we want to see them on the tax rolls. We want to see development happening, housing going up. But
Yeah, where I was going with that, Drew, is, again, we're setting a precedence on the, in this case, the minimum that we'd accept on these lots. So when it comes up again,
We can say we're putting a precedence, but we ultimately, each situation that gets brought up, we decide, you could say we did it for one guy, not the next. Each situation is a different situation, so just because you allow something at one price today, doesn't mean we're gonna allow the guy tomorrow at the same price.
I think that's where the 50% comes in. That's the equalizer for everybody. But that's the precedent we were setting. That's, 50% is what we're at. That's our level. So if we go here for 50% and go here for 30%, that's the precedent. So the precedent's set for 50%.
There's a time and a place where ultimately, how long do we wanna sit on it before do we just keep letting them grow, another 10 more years? If somebody's willing and able to take that risk, at some point in time, we have to determine when is it the right time for us to let them go.
Well, I think if Joe Public was sitting out there, they'd say we shouldn't be doing it for 50%. They want the whole deal. That's tax dollar money, that right there. Somebody paid taxes to do that.
Right.
So
And that's
I don't follow that. I think we got to protect our taxpayers at some point. So we set a precedent of 50%, and that's where, that's where people come in and know that's what it's going to be.
That's the precedence that we set, because right now, we even have some properties that are not for sale that we have hired and done to keep them up, to keep the properties at value. We hire the mowing, we hire the snow, we do that. And if that's our price, then, and the public knows, well, if we wait 10 years, we'll just get that knocked off a little bit. And that's, so we're saying we're telling everybody it's not that important. If we just do it for X amount of years, we're just gonna absorb that cost. Well, then why do we even do it in the first place? But then we make our properties that have a house right here, we keep them in line with 6 inches, or I'm talking about grass now. Within 6 inches to 10 inches, get it mowed, or else we're gonna get a citation for not keeping your grass mowed. And then, but the property right across the street is owned by someone else, and they don't have to do it until we hire somebody to do it, and then if we wait so long, we just knock it off and say, well, you can have the lot. We're in a bad situation here because we don't own it, but we take care of it, or we hire it done, whatever, and now we're saying, well, we overpaid the guy, I guess, we shouldn't pay him.
these are infrastructure assessments.
Right, it is. We have them set for a purpose. And I get the idea that somebody wants to buy them, take care of them or whatever, but that's the precedence we're setting by, if we're gonna say, we'll even take 50% off, we're saying, I guess, thanks. I guess, I don't know. To me, that's why, I know you can buy them for nothing, almost nothing. But you can't buy anything for nothing. You have, somebody has to pay that price.
so currently,
50% is pretty generous already. The 50% discount plus the $100 fee from the county still would put all 4 of these lots at below market value of what other lots are selling for, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Correct.
I believe so.
great that we have somebody that wants to buy them and build something on them. And if they don't build for a while even, they'll take care of it. We know he'll take care of it. You look at his yard, he takes care of it. We know that's gonna happen, so it will be off our deal. You still have to say, I mean, we have that much invested in it.
All right, any other discussions on this item?
I guess I would just kind of round it up for Dave. My position on it is that the 50% level is what I feel that is appropriate. We have $22,000 invested into those properties already, and at $11,000, it's common knowledge would say that they're worth at least that in the market. Maybe I'm wrong. Possibly even under what market is. I don't have a realtor or any
Yeah.
foundation for that, Dave, so, so like Commissioner Bragg was saying, it's still a reasonable acquisition dollar. And the other part of it is, going back to the mayor, trying to represent what the taxpayers have also already paid. Yes, it's been over 10 years. And the one that should have paid it isn't. So, in my line of work, if I can get 50 cents on the dollar on a collection, that's a pretty good day, so. Just to
See,
explain.
if they are below market value now, they're not being sold, at that price.
My
Yep.
thought is just how long do we sit on it? At what point in time is it ready for development? Or, we're ready to.
I don't think we can answer that. The need will come, and somebody will want those lots. I don't know, Drew, if we can answer specifically, it's 2 months from now or 10 years from now. That's a question we can't answer.
But how long are we willing to wait? We're saying.
I don't think we're there yet.
Sticking at 50%, and that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah, I don't think we're there yet, are we?
Well, to circle back on your question that you're asking me, Drew, is if there was a re-auction on these properties, and I'm not suggesting that we do that, but if there were, 4 lots that, let's auction it based on public acceptance of the price. And that may determine better where we're at on the percentage that we could accept. I don't know. It takes two bidders.
But the public auction is.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
The county's public sale is different than what we do for public auctions. Theirs is the courthouse auction with the list. They don't do a full-fledged
So
open.
what you're saying is that if there was no assessment on them, if there were just a lot sitting out there, you think that they would bring more than $8,500? If there's no assessment, nothing, just a lot somebody's trying to sell, you think that they would bring more than $8,500?
I'm not familiar enough to know that, but I would anticipate that.
Yeah.
Remember the surplus lot we had out there? That didn't go for 8,500, right? The one by NTA? Was it last year?
Right.
Correct,
It was a
you're
little
right.
sliver out in an area that went for way more than we thought it would sell for, actually.
But now.
Yeah.
Well,
But it's
I-
not really a buildable lot like this, but there's no infrastructure out there.
Go ahead, Rich.
Colleen, did you say that we have sold 3 lots this year already at the 50% discount?
3 of them, yes. We did have to come to commission for approval, yes. Within the last 6 months, I'm not gonna say year.
So that would state that even though these 4 have been sitting for 10 years, at the 50% rate, there has been demand for them if we've sold 3 this year.
Yes.
maybe I could, with Ted representing Greater Huron, and, I mean, you have a pretty good handle on what residential lots are marketed at.
Would you like me to come up?
Yeah, if you,
Sure.
it's not a court hearing or anything, but,
I didn't know for audio purposes and video
No,
people
thank
want to
you.
know. Ted Hayter with Greater Huron. We have about 55 lots in the Southtown development that we sell for 20,000, 25, or 30,000 for most of those lots. And we have some very large lots that would be for 40,000 apiece. I think other lots in the area are in the $15,000 range. Up Danny Hofer's lots in that part of the development west of Ravine Lake. There's some by Esterbrook, which I don't know exactly what's available there or how much those sell for. But that's my knowledge of the housing area. And we sold some in Broadland Creek from 22,500 to about 30,000 along the Gulf Coast.
and I know those lot values are subjective to the lot and the location, and, but these are all the infrastructure's in, correct? So they're developed and ready to go in this location.
Anything else?
No, thank you, Ted.
Thanks,
Kinda
Ted. Appreciate that.
Impromptu on that, sorry.
We done with their discussion? Drew?
So what is the proposal here now for the final answer, before we take a
The
vote?
motion right now is to approve the 8,500.
85.
So if we're gonna do a roll call, that's what you're voting on, yes or no?
So is it fair to ask Mr. Stahl if he's all right with that, or is that not, I mean, it's got nothing to do with?
That was his proposal, that's what we're voting
All right.
on. Okay, roll call vote.
Smith,
Nay.
Weinreich,
Aye.
Bragg,
Nay.
Robish,
Too soon. Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Nay.
Motion fails.
Jeff? Motion fails. Thank you, Mr. Stahl.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay, moving on to 8.3, Pauline, that's one for you to,
Yes, thank you. So this is our first dispensary actual license. Dakota Herb LLC has applied for their medical cannabis license. They've already been approved through the state. At least we've done their background checks according to ours. You can look and see the license. They're within the city limits. It's a leased property. They have their sales tax license. They have their license from the state. We received no comments at all, and has been approved through our investigations that we do and our background checks, and we recommend approval. We do have representatives here if you have any questions.
oh. Okay. I need a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Commissioner Smith moves to approve. Need a second.
Second.
Commissioner Weinreich, second. Okay, discussion on this item. Any discussion on this item?
Just a question maybe for the.
Sure.
viewers.
You gotta come up, one of you come up, both of you come up.
Hi, Joe Savig, CFO.
Just, now that you've got your state approval, and if we're able to approve you tonight, when do you think you would be able to open for business?
The hope is 10/1, but worst case scenario, 11/1.
And which location was
It's on 276 Kansas
Kansas.
Avenue, excuse me.
this? 276
It's in the old,
It's my understanding there was a Mexican restaurant there?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, more questions? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, we have a motion. Need a roll call vote on this item?
Smith,
Aye.
Weinrice,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Robish,
Nay,
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Passed. Okay, moving on to 8.4 is Beaver County Humane Society update, and Kim is here to give us that. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, or evening, I guess.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, told Paul Lynn and I were discussing it, seems like forever since I've been here.
I don't know the time.
So it's nice to see y'all. So I'll kind of just recap, what animal control and the shelter have been up to in 2021. So for January through December, we were dispatched on a total of 805 calls. 684 of those were, city calls. The bulk of them, as usual, were running at large, with 359 of them, 684 being running at large, 89 neglect, 24 DOA, 12 biter, 114 trapping, 86 nuisance and wildlife calls. So we're right about ballpark to where we were the year prior to that. And I kind of went through January to June for this year, just to kind of see where we're at, comparing years post-COVID now, just to see, because we aren't seeing a whole lot of it, but a lot of shelters are seeing a lot of people wanting to surrender now, people that had gotten animals during COVID, and now they're a year old and 2 years old, and everybody's back to work, or kids are back in school, and there's no time, or the puppy is not a puppy anymore. So we are seeing an influx, like I said, not just here, but it's nationwide pretty much, of people needing to surrender animals. We are doing our best to get people to do their due diligence, make them be a little bit more responsible as far as using social media, reach out and try to rehome this animal if you can, versus just popping it into a shelter in a kennel. So that's our goal. You know, we talked during COVID about the shelter using social media more, even as far as animal control goes, which has been working wonderfully. We use Huron SD Lost and Found on Facebook, and our Facebook page. So if we pick a stray animal up, we're posting that animal on Facebook immediately. So it's just shocking how quickly we're getting these animals back home. The only other thing that could help that even further is making sure our pets have their tags on them. If they lose their tag, take a Sharpie or something, write your phone number. Most people, if they find your pet, are gonna call you. We had one picked up recently, and people were just upset because it was 2 o'clock in the morning, it wasn't hurting anybody. But we can't say, well, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, big deal, you know, and then what happens if something happens to that dog? So if your animal gets impounded, there are fees involved. It's just like, I mean, we're talking about a living being here, but if you get pulled over for a speeding ticket, you gotta pay. So there are fees involved if your animals get picked up. We do try to get them back, and people are doing well too. If their pet goes missing, it happens. People's pets get out. They're also posting them on the SD Lost and Found site, and we are watching that page as well. So with everybody collaborating, it's really working well as far as getting animals back home quickly. Last year, we took in 786 animals compared to 876 the year prior in 2020. So that's a win. We're hoping spay-neuter has something to do with that. Right now in the shelter, we have 2 dogs right now, so that's a win for us too. We have 45 cats in the shelter, 8 in foster care, but we did have 8 more come in today. So we're at 50-some cats. We've got lots of people trapping. It is the time of the year, so also if there are citizens out there that notice a bunch of strays in the area, don't wait till they have their second litter of kittens, give us a call, let's get them caught up and get them into the shelter and find them homes. In 2021, out of those animals that we took in, the 786, 229 were adopted, 133 returned to owner, 274 were wildlife and or farmed released, 78 were DOAs, and 65 were euthanized. Don't even like saying that word out loud, but it is a reality. We do not euthanize anything just because. Maybe feral ill, it may be severely injured, maybe senior and health is failing. There has to be a legit reason why we're doing that. Shelters that call themselves no-kill shelters euthanize less than 10% of the population that comes in. That's where you gain that no-kill status. So we're there, and you know that's always the goal, is to try not to euthanize anything, but we're not going to let anything suffer just to stay within that 10% parameter. Last year we sold 815 city licenses. We know there's more pets than that in the city, so again, those tags help immensely because we can look them up remotely at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, Friday, Tuesday. So yeah, tags will help. We had our first annual Miles for Mutts this month. It was fun. We have to thank Anytime Fitness for helping us out with that. We hope to resume and do that again next year. Another new fundraiser that we have done this year was our bingo, or it was in the end of last year. We did a bingo fundraiser, and boy, the people in this community like their bingo. So we're gonna stay on that train as well. Our next fundraiser is August 13th. Splash Central, our Four Paws pool party, and that's a hoot every year. And so, yeah, if anybody wants to, they drain the pool. It's the closing day of the pool, so they drain it after that so we can fill it full of dog hair and watch the dogs have fun in the water. So that's always a fun one. $5 per dog. Come see us. Other than that, like I said, I kind of did January through June 2022, and we're kind of breaking out just about where we should be by end of year. We're about halfway there as far as numbers wise comparison. Other than that, we are still looking for a part-time kennel keeper. It does require some weekends, and we're also looking to hire a nighttime on-call animal control officer. That person must possess a clean driving record, no criminal background, so if there's anybody interested that just wants a little extra income, be on call, be available, get a hold of us and we'll get you an application or send us a resume. Other than that, I think that's about all I have. If you have any questions.
Kim, what's that? Is it cost still $5 for a license?
Yeah, five if they're neutered, 10 if they're not.
Okay.
And then if your dog gets picked up and now you gotta get it out of impound, now that license fee is $25.
Okay.
So, and we can get that license to you. You can call me, you can message me on Facebook. I'll get it to you somehow.
Yep.
We can take payment over the phone. You can mail me a check and I'll mail you a take. However we gotta get it, we'll get it to you.
Yep. Makes your job easier.
Yep, absolutely. So, yeah, those licenses are critical.
Yeah. All right, any more questions for?
Just one
Yeah.
quick one. So like the same dogs that are getting out and picked up.
Repeat
over-
offenders?
Yeah, what is your policy, what is the?
There is a first time, second time, third time. The fees do increase 35, 55, 75, and then after that third time, if we deem it necessary, we can put it in front of the judge, and then they'll have to pay that as well. We really do, we do have some repeat offenders, and we know they love the animal. The little Dickens are just escape artists or gate unlatchers or, so we try to work with them, and now a lot of the people that follow that page, oh yeah, that's that dog that lives over there. So, a lot of times after they've escaped a few times, we don't even end up getting involved. But, it's dangerous. We don't want to have to pick them up after being hit by a car. So, it's important to keep them gates locked. If they're getting out, figure out how. That's the kind of conversation we try to have with those owners is what can we do to help? Let us take a peek at your backyard. Where's the dog getting out? Let us make these suggestions for you.
A couple of other things, maybe,
Sure.
if I may. Thank you. So, a little bit of confusion, I think, sometimes happens and comes along the way when there's an animal out, they should be contacting you, correct?
Yeah, if they see an animal running at large, you know, they can contact the non-emergency police number.
Okay,
What a lot of people are doing is they're posting, just seen a black and white dog on 10th and Idaho. You know, and then they'll private message me 30 minutes later, did you pick up that dog? Nope, haven't seen it. Well, do you know if it's still there? Well, no, I don't, because we don't dispatch an animal control officer off a Facebook post. I may not see it till the next day if I'm, you know, but yeah, they should, if, especially, you know, if it's in a busy area, if you think the dog lives in the neighborhood, you know, it's fine if you post it on there. But we want to make sure ultimately, again, we don't want to be the ones that pick it up and now it's severely injured and now we've got to take it to the vet and we've got to make a life or death call for a pet owner.
yeah. And if it's a barking dog in the middle of the night,
That goes through
That heads to the
police
police.
department because that's a noise complaint. We get a lot of questions on that and we don't have the capability to write a citation. So that's why it goes back. We tried doing it years ago where we would give the pet owners a log and then, you know, then we would hand it over to PD. It just was a mess. And so, I think it's been about 8 years ago, it was decided that the officers should handle it. It's a noise complaint. They have the ability to write out a citation right there if need be. And so, yeah, those noise complaints, you know, the way that ordinance is worded, the dog or animal has to be consistently barking, howling, whining, etc. I believe it's for a period of 3 minutes constant, and then without pause, you know, with only a short pause, depending upon the hours of day. But yeah, it's a difficult one. I mean,
yeah. I guess
yeah.
my point was, who do we call depending on the situation, and you clarified that, so.
Okay, yep.
Thank you, Kim.
Noise complaint, be police department. Either way, you know, you can contact the police department. You know, and you can call us, you know, and then we're gonna tell you, because then we can look the person up, the address up in the system. And then we can see, well, do they have it licensed? Is it current on its rabies vaccination? And it gives us the opportunity to then educate, you know, did you know your neighbors or you know, or somebody is complaining about your dog barking? And a lot of times that's all it takes is, you know, them knowing that, oh, I didn't realize, you know, I'm at work, I didn't realize my dog was barking from 3 to 4 o'clock when the kids are coming off the school bus. I'll, you know, take measures to fix it, so.
Sure.
Just a point of clarification, so if it is Monday to Friday, 8 to 5, they can contact your office, right, for a dog running at large?
They can contact the shelter. We operate by appointment. So if there's no appointments after, say, 2 o'clock, I'm not gonna pay staff to be there till 4 or 5 o'clock. So if they don't get an answer there, call the non-emergency number at the police department and they will get you animal control.
All right. Thanks, Kim. Appreciate
All right,
it.
have a great night.
See you next
Thanks,
year,
Kim.
huh?
Yeah.
Up next, we have Brenda from the Huron Event Center for an update. Welcome, Brenda.
Thank you. Nice to see you guys as well. This past year so far has been a very good year compared to what we've been through the last couple of years. People are ready to get out, have meetings, have reunions, weddings, conventions, that sort of thing. So we've actually been fairly busy compared to what we have been over the past couple of years, which has been really good. And we're back and going, so we're looking up. We also have been making convention contacts, trying to get some new conventions into town. Lori from the chamber, I know she had her report the other night. Lori and I went to Watertown. We did a joint effort to bid a convention, the Southern Republican Convention. They were here in 2013, I do believe it was. It was a really large convention. So we're hoping that we can get them to come back again. Unfortunately, they decided on a couple other towns, but we're gonna go back after them in 2 years again. But it was a good trip and It worked really well for Lori and I to go and present. We were also, this past year, awarded a couple of new conventions that hadn't been here, and actually they've both been held in the last month. The South Dakota Beekeepers was a couple weeks ago, and then this last weekend, we had the South Dakota Florist Association, and Annette Walkers was a big contribute to that. She's also involved in that organization, and we were able to host them in Huron, and I don't ever recall them being in Huron before, so that was really nice to have them here this past weekend. As far as weddings, a lot of people are getting out and doing weddings again. We've been fairly busy with weddings. We have 3 or 4 yet to come up this fall, and we have several booked already for next year, so we're hoping that will continue. I also included the upcoming calendar for the next couple of years, the rest of the year, and then the next couple of years. A lot of events, most of our conventions are listed on there, and we'll have local events we'll fill in throughout the next year. Also, we've finished the painting at the event center, finished that, which I'm very, very happy with. It looks a brand new look. We have new carpet, new painting, all the meeting rooms have been updated. I've been getting really good comments from people that have been there and looked at it and said what a new face it has and how updated it is, a whole new look. We've also, looking at, hopefully by the end of the year, we're looking at installing a new AV system. We're gonna have screens, projectors, wireless things in all of our meeting rooms, which will be really nice. Everyone's looking forward to that. Instead of running cords and taping them to the floor and that sort of thing, we'll have new screens in all the meeting rooms, digital projectors. Chad's been working on getting that all put together, and we're really hoping to have that installed by the end of the year. Also, I wanted to mention, I don't know if you know or not, but we have new owners at the Crossroads Hotel, has new owners. And so for about a month and a half, seem very energetic, they're very nice. So I'm really hoping that we continue a really good working relationship. From what I hear, I think they actually are looking at moving to Huron, so I'm hoping that will be a good fit and that they will be here on a daily basis. But so far, they've been really, really nice and good, positive attitude, so I'm hoping we can continue our working relationship with the arena and the hotel. Otherwise, everything's been going well, and I'm excited things are busy and looking up again. You can always need more help, so if anybody needs a part-time job, let us know. So, other than that.
Any questions for Brenda?
Is the surface in between the floor that was redone, is that holding up pretty well? That
So far,
epoxy?
yeah, the epoxy, so far, there was a couple scratches on some tables, but otherwise, we've been making sure if we use tables out there that they have, the legs have the buttons on the bottom, so. But otherwise, so far, so good.
Good. Well, it sure
Turned out
looks
a-
nice.
Yeah. We also did, if you have been in our back service hallway, compared to the missing tile and things that we had in that back hallway, that turned out amazing. That is so nice back there, so much easier to clean up if something gets spilled, and just for service and employee access is really nice.
All right.
I know, good. Well, thank you for that.
All right, thanks Brenda, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hayter, Ted Hayter from Huron Development here.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for commissioners for having us tonight. Greater Huron Development Corporation has 3 primary focus areas that we work on. They are housing, workforce, and downtown. Housing ties into workforce, and then downtown is just its own standalone thing. We're all familiar with our downtown and some of the things that have changed in the last year or two, and we look forward to some changes in the future. Housing, normally we have 100 to 125 homes for sale in the city of Huron. Let's say, turn back the clock 2 years, that's the case. Today, we have 20 to 30 houses on the market, and if we didn't bring any new houses on They would all sell inside of about 2 months, and we would have none for sale. So that's why one of our primary focus areas is housing. A few things we've done. We have been a part of the Wheatgrass apartment and townhome complex that's going up right now. There's a TIF district that Greater Huron is a part of through the city of Huron as well, that helped get that construction project landed in Huron. That'll be 105 units, 69 apartment units, and 36 townhomes that should be leasing up in October or November. We have, through Greater Huron, 2 governor's houses coming that will be placed in Southtown, and there was an article in Prairie Tracks about that last month. We expect those to sell for about $225,000 a piece, and you have to be a qualified buyer to purchase one of those homes. And that income qualification is about $50,000 for a single and $60,000 for a couple, for a rough number. So not just anybody can go out and buy one. And if you're familiar with the math on a mortgage, that makes it pretty tight on a $225,000 budget on that income. We have sold 15 lots since I was here a year ago. In Broadland Creek, we are sold out. We sold 6 of those. We sold actually 9 lots in Broadland Creek in the last 12 months, and then 6 in Southtown. We sold 3 of those lots in the last week for a developer looking to do a 10-unit complex near the Wheatgrass apartment. For workforce, we have a Governor's Office of Economic Development grant that will pay some relocation or bonus expenses for a new employee coming into Huron from outside of the state of South Dakota, as long as they're making at least $20 an hour. And we paid some relocation expenses, it might be moving expenses, tool equipment purchases, or just a straight bonus paid to the employee to come to work in Huron. And that's an after-the-fact reimbursement, so the company does the work, gets the person here, pays them the bonus, and then asks us for the reimbursement. So we still have some of that money available, and if anybody watching has a new person that came from outside of South Dakota that's making more than $20 an hour, and they paid some relocation or bonus incentives, we can do that for them. We held a CNA camp, that's a certified nurse assistant last summer. 4 participants participated in that and got certified as CNAs. All of those local high school age kids, and one of them said, nope, I don't want to do this. I've been through this, I know what this is about now I don't want anything to do with it. A couple of them are medical career field oriented and are seriously considered going on to a university for furthering their education in that field. We're also working with the Huron school system as they expand their career and technical education offerings. We're going to a conference in November to learn more about different options throughout the nation. We've toured several other high school campuses in the state, in Watertown, Brookings, Aberdeen, Sioux Falls, Yankton, to see what those schools are doing to steal some of their ideas. And then also to meet the needs of the area employers, to see what we can do to keep those kids here. Because if we can keep our high school graduates here, they're familiar with the area, they know Huron well, they're familiar with it, and in a lot of ways they're already tied to the community. So if we can get those kids to stay, that's a huge win for the workforce in our area. In the downtown development, we had the Forward Huron loan program that we issued during COVID. It was a $2,000, $4,000, or $6,000 loan with no interest and no payments for 2 years. And almost all of those have revolved back to us. We asked the original donors for permission to repurpose $100,000 of that funding for facade grants in the downtown Huron area. And we've approved 7 applications, made 7 payouts for up to $7,500 for facade improvements. Bless you. Jeff Ponnell's new building by the Office Peeps store. You'll notice a new front, new windows, new doors on the front of that building. We funded a small portion of what he did, but he got the $7,500 grant. La Patrona did some improvements to their storefront, a new door, painting, other improvements that have been made. We help fund a few other places throughout town that it might be just replacement of awnings or new windows that you might not even notice. But all of those improvements make things better downtown. So we're happy to make those owners an incentive to take care of those actions. And the last item in downtown would be the ISG, which is an architectural engineering firm out of Sioux Falls, is doing building assessments, where they have a structural engineer and an architect come in, go through people's buildings, tell them the current condition of what's there, and also put together a list of good, better, and best improvements that they could make to their buildings, along with some cost estimates. They'll also get some renderings of what those good, better, and best improvements would look like. And they were just in town last week with a drone to get some aerial footage to show those owners what their roofs look like. And that'll also include a thermal scan of the building and what kind of heat loss they're experiencing. A couple other things, we had a laydown site for the Northwestern Energy natural gas power plant. They had a big gravel parking lot just to the east of that plant that was on our industrial park property. They improved it to a gravel parking lot, stockpiled some dirt off to the side, parked up to 100 employees and all their equipment there for that 12, I don't know how long that lasted, 18 months, 2 years it took to complete that thing, and now they're out of there and it's operational. We have a lead for our spec building. We thought we had it sold last year. That deal fell through, which in the economic development world, you spend months and months courting someone, get them right up to the edge, and things just go away for one reason or another. We have a local business interested in possibly purchasing the spec building from us, and hopefully that happens in the near future. And one last item, just myself professionally, I have a title. I don't really find myself big on titles, but I earned a Master of Economic Development Practitioner certificate through the Advanced Economic Development Leadership Program through the University of Mississippi, Texas Christian, and the University of New Mexico.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Any questions?
Why don't you mention what you did with the airport?
That is on there. Yes, we found there's a new operator of the FBO, which is a fixed-based operator, formerly Skyways, Flyjet Center, now Rev Aviation, out at the airport. We got involved in the middle of the deal to acquire it from the previous owner and get it into the hands of Rev Aviation. So for a brief period in time, Greater Huron owned the FBO, operated the FBO, and kept it afloat. That's one of those things, if you shut down a business like that, you can't just reopen it overnight and expect customers to come back. Because airplanes can stop anywhere. Anywhere there's an airport, they can stop. So we were happy to step in and fill that role. And this new group, which is Carver Aero, is their parent company, and CL Enterprises, they're very into development of towns the size of Huron. So they'll be here sometime in August to have a ribbon cutting. Hopefully get the owners of the company in town to see what Huron is all about, and they're in another state with a higher tax, so maybe we can get them to move their headquarters to South Dakota and take advantage of our business environment in the state. So a very worthwhile project to be a part of.
Appreciate the effort.
Yes. Anything else?
Any other questions from Ted? Seeing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ted.
Thanks, Brenda.
Brenda, you bet. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna go into executive session. I need to go into that.
I need a motion.
Any motion to do that?
Move to go to executive session for personnel.
Commissioner Smith, motions?